Okay, so hi everyone. I'm finally able to do the Masters recording again. The game crashed when I removed the cache as requested by the help for the fixing of the thing with the gift being appearing again and again on the thing, because there's this thing here. I keep getting this. For some reason, I haven't yet figured out why. I keep having this thing here. And I got these things into my library because I added them to my library, and when I added them, this thing didn't disappear and it's still here and I can't accept it. And when I quit the gift screen, it'll still appear as though I have 3 gifts remaining. So that thing bugged, and there seems to be no way to fix it. Here's the list of things that I have determined that I need to do on the left side here, and on the right side here is norsemap, a device I use as a basically brain scanner to tell me what the different world opinions are thinking of, and it's like basically like watching the code of the Matrix in real time, and it's a very efficient tool. It's like a brain scanner. You literally hear people talk once you get accustomed to watching this thing. And instead of seeing code, you see like different layers of the human energy field reacting in different colors from different areas, and you get a sense of where the world's at and who thinks what and so on. It's a very efficient tool. And on the left here is the list of things I need to do. And this seems to be about ready to be implemented as a system for me and to allow me to return to sleep state instead of being like an active political power center. I'm aiming towards returning to what can be considered the sleep state, which is in many ways better for me than being in the awakened state of what you would call an authoritarian. It has certain side effects that I don't like. It inhibits you from being in good relationships, for example, to be like the head of an active state instead of one of the members of the state with an opinion. It's hard to describe how it affects you, but it does indeed affect you. So we managed to fix the masters thing, as far as I can tell, by removing the start configuration thing from the folder where masters is at and reinstalling it, because the file seems to have gotten corrupt and it wasn't removed when it was reinstalled. So now that I reinstalled it, it's significantly better. It should start on its own, which it of course can indeed crash again if that's what it feels like doing, but I somehow doubt that. And I have the list active on the background in case I forget something. It's quite a lot of things I need to change and do. But I should be able to do them all. Christmas.
Our agents that have infiltrated
That is the faint sound of Gemini snoring in the background. The audio keeps popping for some reason. First stop, I have to criticize the leaders of the Christian church. I do believe this is mentioned in the material here. Criticize Christian churches also include Islamic if it were available, leave rest alone. Okay. I will start with that. I would also criticize the Islamic Church if it were available. Then I'm going to remove my protection from the Greens. I don't want them to be harmed in a physical way by me, but I am saying that I no longer want to expend my energy defending them in any condition. The Green parties worldwide have gone rogue. They seem to be engaging in activities which are improper from my point of view. Hey Loki. Hey Loki, how are you doing? You want me to pet you? You rubbed your nose against me. There you go. There we go. First stop is removing protection from the Greens. Reducing police by 5,000. Establishing a much greater stock of security cameras. Four times as many, or sure if that's 4 or 3 times as many. I think that's 4 times as many because it's multiplication of 4. And I don't need automatic radars because rate of death by road accident is decreasing very fast, and other things seem to be going down by a significant number. Though I will reduce the number of police officers as they seem to have too much power over the society. So does the health or the doctor amount. They seem to have also in a way gone rogue. So I want to reduce their number as well. Reduce their number by 5,000. That should create some amount of unemployment, but the private sector should be able to cope with it instantly.
the bill.
The bill.
The demonstrator.
Many organizations are demonstrating against my policy of increasing the number of security cameras.
Our agent.
The Slovenian terrorist organization abducted one of my journalists a while back, and since then I've had the distinct policy of trying to disband their organization whenever it appears. I feel that is justified. Our number of unhealthy houses is very good. GDP growth is 87% per year. I'm the third largest economy in the world, but my share of economy as compared to the world economy keeps decreasing rather rapidly because the other countries are also growing at a great rate. We managed to destroy the Ukrainian Patriotic Front. It was one of the terrorist organizations in Ukraine.
The operation is finished. Don't get me wrong.
The Green Party guy resigned immediately when I said that I'm of the opinion that I will no longer be able to defend them due to their militaristic actions. He resigned immediately. He didn't put up a fight. The level of freedom of information is already state pressures and influences instead of information controlled and censored. So it's already the second lightest one. So I need to pick another topic where I move towards a multi-party system. Of all the things available to me, I should probably go with influence of official religion in state announcements instead of state functioning, but I don't feel like it's appropriate at the moment. I could go with state
No responsible person is in place.
No longer controlling associations, so I could give syndicates more right to strike. I could also possibly go with allowing more criticism of the state. This is probably the culture minister. Freedom of expression, respectful of beliefs, freedom of expression, freedom of expression. I'm going to go with complete freedom over tolerate and monitor all minority religions, because we already have a policy of tolerate and monitor sects, which is kind of like minority religions. Actually, I don't feel like that's justified, letting the minority religions go without monitoring while demanding that sects are monitored. It seems to be unjust. Associations tolerated and monitored.
No responsible person is in place.
I wonder which of these is the one I'm supposed to pick.
No response.
Probably the employment minister. Yeah, employment and social is the one I'm looking for. Bless you. None of these guys like me very much. But I'll pick one of them. And I want to monitor the labor syndicates because I'm monitoring religions and associations. Proportional. It's very hard to pick one of these. Perhaps freedom of expression instead of state pressure and influence. Let's see what the population thinks. 63.3% in favor. I'm going to go with that one. The next one after the Greens is the Order of the Humanists. And I'm asking for all karma that can be balanced without causing true agony to be balanced as quickly and efficiently as possible between me and this group. I feel like they have attacked me and I may have attacked them, but the overall fact remains that our relations are hostile, and I don't feel like ordering an actual assassination or a punch or anything of that nature. So I want the karma between the two of us to be balanced as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The mechanism isn't allowed to cause deaths and or true agony. So only actions to balance out the karma instead of very specifically to attack them. This is because I basically feel like they have been unjust towards me, so this is my response to them. I will also reduce the number of national security officials on our territory by 10,000. This is to limit the influence of the police in our current government.
I have to tell you.
As I
The funeral will take place next
Minister of
week.
Transport resigned or died. In this particular case, I feel like resigned. Being unable to connect the energies of the state in a healthy way feels like his responsibility. We are running a budget deficit of 4 point something. National debt is slowly increasing. We could stand to go to an even higher value-added tax, but this will probably cause a riot in the country. I'm going to increase it to 90%. Economic growth slowed down to 34%.
We are in a dead. The bill.
My support dropped to 1% after I did the change.
Demonstrators are
Subsidized. Pookie, the little dog, was leaning on my chair asking me to pet him, so now I'm petting him with my left hand.
The agent in charge of elimination missed his target. A coefficient 7 external parameter induced an insurmountable disruption. The procedure...
So the alternative Greens are not interested in resigning when I say that they have acted improperly towards me. So now the next step is to wait for what kind of actions happen in the real world to reflect the actions I took here, but I have done my part. If there need to be more harsher actions, I will take more harsher actions. Next one is the bank leader. I'm saying that the National Bank has acted in a way that is completely against the interests of the people, and as such he should resign. I don't want any physical harm to come to him, but I'm strongly of the opinion that he should resign. We need a better one for the job. That's not every action that I was supposed to take.
Your politics
is close. Thank you.
Your politics are on the right.
Thank you for saying it twice. And it's been remarkably calm. The sit-in ended. And I need to give out 3 billion in developmental aid to signify that I'm basically returning to my good side, or the peaceful side, if you will. And I'm paying that amount of money to basically recompensate people for any trouble I may have caused them with my efforts of becoming an awakened state. So it's easier to be real in a way, because it's distracting petting the dog. It's easier to be peaceful after you compensate others for the trouble you caused them. color background. Then I will give Japan for the nuclear power plant repair for people in total. And that should be roughly enough. So media is now completely free, without state pressures and influences. Hope this feels better. Minister of Labor resigning protest.
The operation is finished. Don't get me wrong.
The bank leader immediately resigned when I told him. So the Greens and the bank leader resigned, but the religious Greens put up a fight. What else? Police wage. That seems about complete. Wages. The wages of the police and the military are not the same as the administration, give or take. They no longer get paid more.
Right.
Hope this doesn't negatively influence much. Seems to be good. A lot of protests, but that was to be expected.
The funeral will take...
I will give you your resignation legally.
We have a problem. My sources mention Lee.
This is the religious Greens fighting against me. I've petted the dog enough, my hands are getting sore. Political journalist is out. This is a sign that the religious Greens lost the fight. They got 11 months in prison instead of a resignation. That seems about right. And my support increased. And then decreased.
You know me. Do you wish...
The army is protesting that I'm giving up rights of the government to the people, which comes as no surprise. No, I won't disband your strike. I will in fact give you the right to strike. Neck pumps.
The funeral will take place next
The
week.
Minister of Defense couldn't take the fact that the army is protesting me giving more rights to the people, and they resigned or died. Our comic book industry received the first prize for doing an accurate job portraying.
You know me.
Same protest from the new guy, or he's actually the one who was there before. The sit-in from the self-defense industry is still there. And they attacked the police. It's actually the National Family Committee. interesting group to strike for me giving rights to the media. We won the best foreign film, which I believe is a compliment on me doing this thing well. I'm going to make the deal for cotton with the Dominican Republic. They get 30 million of my currency.
Our agents...
And we can attack the total jihad in Afghanistan. It seems that it's about time to quit once this thing is balanced out. They're going to prosecute me for my fight with the religious queens, but I doubt it's going to make much difference.
We are in a dead end. The funeral will take place.
I died because of the fight. So they got 11 months in prison and I died, so you can basically plot out for yourself what happened. And do the appropriate reactions for yourself. Government resigned.
The theory...
We can approach the Russian ultra-conservative coalition. Or normal conservative, I don't remember which.
But are you crazy?
Military overthrew, basically saying that I need to be better with my, how shall I put this, defense. I'm not allied with many countries in the NATO anymore, even though I'm in the NATO, but I'm allied with a few. President of Afghanistan congratulates me for dismantling the total jihad organization over there. It's about time for me to quit, but I'll new army leader because he failed to protect me. Actually, because he
I'm listening carefully.
So they need a new army leader.
You've checked. You can't. But are you crazy?
A lot of people are demanding a higher salary, but I absolutely can't pay it. Our value-added tax is high enough.
What's the point?
A Muslim?
The fact that we have such a high inflation is actually the reason why they're asking for a higher wage. It has very little to do with the actual wage that they're getting. Nuclear electricity is 2.8% of our national production, even after building that many nuclear power plants. So it seems like the situation is calm now. There's only a few demonstrations going on, and it seems about the proper time to quit. The army is now in command. Yeah, it seems about quiet. I will build a few more schools before I quit. Just to make sure that I'm building something with these people and not letting them be unemployed. Debt is still slowly increasing. There are a lot of countries with zero debt, but I do have quite a lot of debt on me. This will be balanced out eventually. 5% of the GDP. Unemployment jumped by quite a lot when I release those extra workers. But it all seems to be going better than I thought it would be going, so that's about it for now. If there's nothing else, I will save and quit. And let's see what the world map says about me. Video quality, man, video quality. I'm playing it at double speed because that feels more conductive to the conversation instead of playing it at normal speed. So that seems to be about it. I'm essentially turning my country back into a multi-party democracy now that I've done all the necessary reforms. It was like necessary to wake up and correct your position and go back to sleep is how I describe this. I'm giving the tools over to the government of Finland so they can do what they want with my model. They can choose to completely ignore it and call it insane, or they can choose to adapt it completely, or anything in between. That's completely up to them. I'm also giving out all the patents and related things that seem to be in my power to give to the world community. And I'm doing similar things of resigning from power and letting the power be. I'm also very distinctly, now that I'm going back to multi-party democracy, both asking for and paying back for the attack on me to essentially stop. I've asked very publicly all the neutral and negative spirits to attack me at the same time to make it clear where my boundaries are, so that if somebody attacks something they think is a part of me, and I go like, no, that's not a part of me, we can both figure out what it actually was and what we want to do with it and attack it openly and honestly instead of having to be covert about it, like is the normal norm for these types of interactions. And there are many good reasons why I asked all the negatives and neutrals to attack me while I asked the positives to defend me. I'm now doing something along the lines of Abraham Lincoln and saying that if you aren't like completely against me, you will be my friend and I will consider you an ally or a friend. So that changes my position here, and I'm also asking for the negatives and neutrals to cease their attacks on me if that's possible. I'm giving 3 billion of my euros, which are each about 2-3 normal euros worth at the moment. I'm giving 3 billion of my euros to foreign development to spread out to all the countries that I have caused trouble for, to recompensate for my rapid awakening, so they don't have to worry about the compensation for my actions. And that's about it. I'm hoping that it's enough to guarantee a shift back to a positive base, but if it isn't, I'll do more. The most interesting thing was that the religious Greens refused to back down and basically killed my prime minister and got 11 months in prison. So basically, I expect a lot more fights with the religious Greens, but both the political Greens and the National Bank manager resigned immediately when I told him to resign, and we have a new leader for the political Greens as well as for the National Bank as well as for police and several other organizations like that. Currently the military is in command. They are slowly managing our change back into a popular voting base instead of the current type of single party system we had, and we moved towards a freedom of expression with the media instead of state pressures with the media, because we no longer feel that state pressures are required when it is compared to the other options available for moving towards a multi-party democracy. It seems we are in a better place. I would perhaps, as the next step, make criticism of religion's freedom of expression, but it's also possible I will do something along the lines of giving associations the right to not be monitored, but I do feel like associations should be monitored. The state should be aware of who associates with who. It's preferable, in my opinion, So the most likely next step that I will do is make a criticism of religions of freedom of expression. But at the moment, I prefer peace between religions more than I do what you would call freedom of expression in this particular regard. But that may change because it seems like it is causing more trouble to say that criticism of religions aren't allowed. This is obviously visible in many of my online interactions where criticism of religion causes bans, which is, spiritually speaking, the karma of my political model. It causes perhaps more trouble than it's worth. So, in fact, talking with this map and feeling people's energies, I distinctly feel like I should do the criticism of religions is a freedom of expression at the same time. I distinctly feel that the cornerstone of a modern democracy is the ability to criticize religions without punishment. Okay, I will do that before I quit. Nope. Culture, criticism of religions, freedom of expression, popular vote. 52% in favor when I have 100% support. The people are very hesitant.
You know me.
To do this, but they will probably do this. Independence of associations is what they are asking for next. But I will give the criticism of religions as the next topic. Closing of the Winter Olympics. Next will be opening of Ooh.
This day will go down in history. Our country has won the most Olympic medals. It's fantastic. We have absolutely dominated the podium. Our athletes are invincible, and the next generation will be too.
I won the most medals at the Winter Olympics.
The sit-in.
I usually do well with the Paralympics, but I occasionally do well with the Olympics as well. This was clearly the result of me giving more rights.
We are in a dead end.
They fought harder. They fought harder when they had more rights. 51.2% will vote in favor. The referendum will take place on the 12th of the 13th, January, February, March today.
The referendum failed. What
People didn't want it, but let's see what Parliament thinks. Ooh, 56% against. I will pass it into a law nonetheless. Criticism of religions is now free, or legal as they say, but associations are still controlled, and that is because I feel like the government should be aware of who you associate with, instead of being completely oblivious to various associations. The result of that is that there should be less police presence in the country because the police tend to become more angry with people who associate in specific positions than with like the average people. It creates racial profiling, and the problem with that is that it's racial profiling. So the best way to do this is to allow government to be aware of associations while reducing the number of police officers and increasing the number of security cameras. Because security cameras are very often used against the police when they misbehave.
Do you wish? I'll give you.
So this should give everybody the right amount of balance of power without compromising anything. Various organizations are striking, especially for a larger wage, but I will not give them a larger wage at the moment. Because there's no way for us to afford a larger wage. They are once again criticizing my mother, and I'm once again telling them to go fuck themselves. Meeting with the Swedish Prime Minister.
Do you wish to send?
No, I don't wish to send the army to take down this organizer or this. So now that the United Nations a little bit further until all the protests die down, then I will quit and save. Ooh, Germany discovers anti-hair loss molecule. Everybody votes in favor of the United Nations taking a stance against Russia, except Russia, and San Tomeo remains abstention. Everybody else voted in favor. But due to the nature of the United Nations model, if one of the permanent members vetoes it, then nothing will happen, which means it's a very broken system. We need more elementary school education centers. How many elementary schools do we actually need? We once can increase our debt significantly. This is not good for us. Budget deficit is increasing very fast. This really isn't good for us. We won the Paralympics.
Good morning.
By significantly in really uranium. We have a uranium production center. Whatever.
Sure.
I significantly increased the value.
We are in a dead
end. This is going to cause
The
a
bill-
huge amount of protest, so I have to play for a little while longer. Yeah. But as soon as this wave calms down, I will quit and save. Then I will go to tuna sandwich.
Hello?
This shouldn't take long.
The current
New leader in charge. We're using the
funeral will take place next week.
blackface, as they say.
Do you? We are in a dead.
I'll give. Do you? The demonstration. The movement.
Hello?
Protests are dying down. This should be over quickly. I believe there's one more general strike going on and it should end. There we go. Ended. Canada's Prime Minister wants to beat us. Let's go forward for a few days and then quit. There we go.
our scientific cell
We are going to spy on the United Arab Emirates in a minute. So this should be in the background. For those with spiritual abilities, you should have clearly seen what it means when the leader changes at different times. So you can see what mask I'm using during different situations and what mask I'm using during various interactions. would have been fairly good to see. There we go. Quit. We are about ready to move on. So, last check on the world map while we're still recording. So the next step that they ask for is freedom of association from government awareness, but I do feel like that may be the wrong step. We should encourage people to be more in opposition to the police when they snoop around who is associated with who too much, instead of removing the police right to be aware of association. So perhaps I am encouraging the population to be more aggressive instead of encouraging them to take rights away from the police officers. So it's a 50-50. But I do know that if the police become overburdensome to the population, instead of removing their rights to be aware of certain things, we should remove their numbers, because that will make the good police officers remain while the bad ones will be resigning. That will slowly adjust the system to be better. It's a hard one, but I do feel that it is probably the best action to take. So now I am officially asleep, or at least aiming in that direction. And I would prefer if the violence inherent in the system, as they say, is made to be lesser at this point. So that's about the size of it, 52. So that's about the size of it. If there's something else, I'll make another recording. Bye, everyone.